Welcome to Japan.
Japan knows no middle ground. Typhoons devastate entire coastlines in hours. Earthquakes redraw mountains in seconds. And yet, amid the fury of the elements, a cherry tree blooms. A macaque plunges into thermal waters. A heron stands motionless upon a glass-like lake. This is a territory where destruction and beauty have danced for millions of years. Neither wins. Both remain. The archipelago stretches for nearly 3,000 kilometers, from the boreal forests of Hokkaido to the tropical reefs of Okinawa. 4 main islands and thousands of smaller fragments emerge from the Pacific like a necklace of floating mountains. More than 70% of the territory is covered by forests. Active volcanoes dot the landscape. Short, violent rivers descend steep slopes. The sea is never far. Here the earth trembles frequently. Fire sleeps beneath the surface, and life, stubborn, finds its way between ash and snow. The seasons command everything. Spring explodes in shades of pink when millions of cherry trees bloom simultaneously. Summer brings humid heat and torrential rains that feed bamboo forests and rice paddies. Autumn sets the mountains ablaze in red and gold. Winter buries the north under meters of snow. Each transition is a test. Each change demands adaptation. The animals that inhabit this archipelago learned to dance with the rhythm of the seasons, or they disappeared. Between the 4 seasons and the 4 elements, Japanese wildlife developed strategies that defy logic. Primates that take hot baths, deer that inhabit temples, bears that climb volcanic mountains, giant salamanders that seem like living fossils. Each creature carries within itself the history of an isolation that lasted millions of years. Japan is a laboratory of evolution, an island continent where unique species emerged, adapted, and persist. Nothing here is simple. The climate oscillates between extremes. Geography fragments populations. Human pressure advances. But where others would see obstacles, Japanese nature found opportunities. Forest density creates microclimates. Mountains function as refuges. Rivers connect seemingly isolated ecosystems. And the sea, ever present, offers resources that sustain entire food chains. It is in this scenario of absolute contrasts that the journey begins. From the snows of the far north to the warm waters of the south, each region guards its secrets. Each species tells its story. Wild Japan does not reveal itself easily. It demands patience. It rewards observation. And it surprises even those who thought they knew it. In the far north of the archipelago, where winter reigns for nearly half the year, the island of Hokkaido emerges as a world apart. Conifer forests cover mountains that disappear into clouds. Volcanic lakes reflect skies of impossible blue. And on snow-covered slopes, a solitary predator patrols its territory with the patience of one who knows that time is on its side. The Hokkaido brown bear is Japan's largest terrestrial predator. Its massive body can exceed 300 kilograms. The dense fur, in shades ranging from chestnut to near black, offers protection against winters that plunge temperatures to -30 degrees. But it is intelligence, not just strength, that defines this animal. It knows every trail of its forest, every river where salmon ascend to spawn, every slope where edible shoots emerge in spring. The bear's survival depends on a precise calendar. In spring, when the snow begins to retreat, it awakens from months of torpor. The body consumed reserves accumulated the previous autumn. Hunger is urgent. The first days are dedicated to young plants and roots emerging from still cold soil. Every calorie counts. Every gram of fat lost during winter needs to be recovered before the cycle repeats. Summer brings temporary abundance. Wild fruits ripen on the slopes. Insects proliferate beneath fallen logs, but it is in autumn that the spectacle reaches its climax. Hokkaido's rivers transform into silver highways when millions of salmon begin their final journey. They climb the currents, leap waterfalls, traverse freezing waters, and the bears wait. Positioned at strategic points, bears capture fish with impressive precision. Claws function as hooks, jaws close with enough force to crush bones. In weeks of abundance, a single bear can consume dozens of salmon per day. But it doesn't eat everything. It selects the most nutritious parts and abandons the rest. That remainder feeds crows, eagles, and foxes. Marine nutrients, transported by salmon from the ocean, fertilize the forest through the carcasses left behind. Silence. The bear raises its head. Something moves on the opposite bank, another male. The territory is vast, but the best fishing spots are limited. Tension grows without a single vocalization being emitted. Gazes cross, postures adjust. One step forward, two steps back. Most of the time, the dispute ends without contact. Experience taught that injuries cost dearly, but when two males of similar size meet, violence can explode in seconds. Females maintain prudent distance. Accompanied by cubs born during winter, they avoid areas of confrontation. The little ones learn by watching which plants are safe, which trails to avoid, how to read the behavior of an irritated male. Education lasts years, and even so, many don't survive their first winter alone. With the arrival of cold, the bear retreats. Natural caves or dens dug beneath roots offer shelter. Metabolism slows, breathing becomes almost imperceptible. For months, the animal remains in a state of torpor, slowly consuming the reserves it accumulated. Pregnant females give birth in that darkness. Blind and defenseless cubs find the mother's warmth. Life persists, even when the outside world is frozen. The bear's presence shapes all of Hokkaido's forest. Its role as seed disperser and transporter of marine nutrients influences the plant composition of entire areas. Where there are healthy bears, there are healthy forests. The relationship is ancient, and as long as salmon continue ascending the rivers, the bear will continue waiting. Further south, where conifer forests give way to groves of beech and oak, another inhabitant dominates the mountain slopes, a primate that defies the cold in unexpected ways. The Japanese macaque is the northernmost living non-human primate on the planet. In the mountains of Nagano, where snow accumulates meters high, entire troops developed a unique behavior. They bathe, not by accident. By tradition, the hot springs of Jigokudani, whose name means Hell Valley, release waters heated by the volcanism that pulses beneath the surface. Steam rises among ice-covered rocks. The contrast is absolute. Deadly cold just meters from comforting warmth. And the macaques, attentive observers, discovered this frontier decades ago. Today, entire generations grow up knowing the ritual. The Japanese macaque's body is compact and robust. The thick fur, in shades of gray and brown, covers almost the entire surface. Only the face and buttocks remain exposed, tinted red by blood circulation close to the skin. In adults, weight can reach 15 kilograms. Limbs are proportionally short, an adaptation that reduces heat loss in cold environments. The eyes, of deep amber, observe everything with an intelligence that discomforts by its familiarity. Troop life is complex. Hierarchies define who eats first, who has access to the best resting areas, who can approach the hot springs when the cold intensifies. Dominant females transmit their status to daughters. Young males compete for positions through alliances and displays of strength. Conflicts are rarely violent. More frequently, they are resolved through ritualized gestures, vocalizations, and displays of submission. But it is the bathing that fascinates. When temperatures plummet, macaques descend to the springs. They enter the warm water slowly. They close their eyes. Facial expression changes, tension dissolves. Infants play on the surface while adults remain motionless, absorbing heat. Steam condenses on their fur, forming ice crystals that contrast with reddened skin. The scene seems impossible. Wild primates in natural spas, surrounded by snow. The behavior is not instinctive, it is learned. It was first observed in the 1960s when a young female entered the water to retrieve food that had fallen. The sensation was pleasant. She repeated it. Others copied. In a few generations, bathing became tradition. Today, troops from different regions display distinct cultural variations. Some wash food before eating. Others developed specific foraging techniques. The transmission of knowledge between generations is real and documented. Diet varies according to season. In spring, young leaves and shoots dominate the menu. Summer brings fruits and insects. Autumn offers nuts and seeds that will be essential for crossing winter. When snow covers everything, macaques resort to tree bark and lichens. Each food source requires different techniques, and each technique is passed from elders to young through observation and imitation. Group cohesion is fundamental. On freezing nights, macaques huddle together. Bodies press against bodies. Collective temperature overcomes individual cold. Infants occupy the center, protected by adults. Sentinels remain alert at the edges. Predators are rare but exist. Eagles can attack isolated young. And the mountain itself, with its avalanches and sudden storms, represents constant threat. The presence of Japanese macaques in mountain forests influences seed dispersal and vegetation structure. Their trails create paths that other animals use. Their food remains nourish invertebrates. The cycle continues. Descending the mountains toward the valleys, where rivers meander among moss-covered rocks, a creature emerges that seems to have crossed eras unchanged. A giant of fresh waters that guards secrets of a remote past. The Japanese giant salamander is a living fossil. Its lineage dates back more than 20 million years. While continents separated and entire species disappeared, it remained, almost unchanged, as if time had simply forgotten it. The body is flattened and broad, covered by rough skin in tones of dark brown, speckled with lighter spots. Lateral folds increase the oxygen absorption area. Eyes are small, almost vestigial. Vision is limited. But what is lacking in visual acuity is abundant in chemical and mechanical sensitivity. Receptors scattered across the skin detect minimal vibrations in water, movements of prey, approach of predators, alterations in current. Adults can exceed 1.5 meters in length. Some historical records mention even larger individuals. Weight can reach 25 kilograms. It is the largest amphibian in the world still in existence, and it lives exclusively in cold, clear rivers of Japanese mountains. Respiration is cutaneous. Oxygen crosses the skin directly into the bloodstream. This requires clean water, well oxygenated, free of pollutants. The salamander is, therefore, a precise indicator of river health. Where it thrives, water is pure. Where it disappears, something is wrong. Hunting occurs at night. The amphibian remains motionless on the riverbed, camouflaged among stones and sediments. When prey approaches, the attack is sudden. The mouth opens laterally, creating a vacuum that sucks in the victim. Fish, crustaceans, aquatic insects, everything serves. Digestion is slow. A single meal can sustain the animal for weeks. Silence. The salamander does not vocalize. There are no mating calls, no alarm cries. All communication occurs through pheromones released into the water. Chemical signals that mark territory, indicate reproductive availability, warn of danger. An invisible language written in molecules. Reproduction occurs in autumn. Dominant males excavate burrows in riverbanks, protected cavities where females will deposit their eggs. Competition is intense. Smaller males try to fertilize eggs secretly. Larger males defend their burrows with bites that can cause serious injuries. Scars are common, limbs regenerate, but slowly. Reproductive investment is high. After laying, the male assumes guard duty. For months, he remains in the burrow, protecting eggs from predators and ensuring adequate water circulation. He moves his tail, clears sediments, removes unfertilized eggs that could contaminate the others. Paternal care is rare among amphibians. Here, it is the rule. Hatchlings emerge in spring. Tiny, vulnerable, completely aquatic, external gills will be absorbed over time. Metamorphosis is gradual. Years will pass before they reach maturity, decades before they reach maximum size. Longevity is impressive. Individuals in captivity have lived more than 50 years. In nature, where threats are constant, expectancy is lower, but still notable. The Japanese giant salamander has no significant natural predators when adult. Its greatest enemy is invisible. Pollution, river damming, habitat alteration, invasive species that compete for resources, human progress advances, and the creature that survived millions of years of natural changes now faces decades of accelerated transformation. In the same forests where the salamander inhabits rivers, another animal walks ancestral trails. Its tracks mark the moist soil between abandoned temples and still active shrines. The Sika deer, living symbol of the connection between nature and Japanese spirituality. The Sika deer walks between two worlds, wild and sacred. In Nara, ancient imperial capital, hundreds of them wander freely through parks and temples. Tourists feed them, monks revere them. Tradition has protected them for more than 1,000 years, when they were declared messengers of the gods. But far from cities, in deep forests, the Sika deer is another creature. Cautious, elusive, wild, the body is elegant and compact. Fur changes according to season. In summer, tones of reddish chestnut are dotted with white spots that resemble stars. In winter, the coat darkens and spots disappear under thicker hair. Adult males develop branched antlers that can reach 80 centimeters. These bone structures are renewed annually. They grow in spring, harden in summer, are used in autumn and fall in winter. A perpetual cycle of construction and discard. Diet is varied. Grasses dominate in spring and summer. Shrub leaves complement in autumn. In winter, when snow covers pastures, deer resort to tree bark and resistant shoots. In areas of high population density, pressure on vegetation can be intense. Entire forests show signs of excessive grazing. The so-called browse line, below which all accessible vegetation disappears, marks the impact of uncontrolled populations. Autumn brings mating season. Males abandon their usual tranquility. Bellows echo through forests. They are guttural calls, almost melancholic, that announce presence and challenge rivals. The sound is unmistakable. It crosses valleys, reverberates among trunks. On clear nights, when the moon illuminates clearings, confrontations occur. Two males face each other. Antlers interlock. Strength is measured. Pushes and twists test resistance and determination. Most of the time, the weaker retreats before injuries occur, but accidents happen. Antlers can lock irreversibly. Males can fall from slopes during combat. Reproductive competition is serious, the cost potentially fatal. Females observe from distance. The choice is not passive. They evaluate, compare. They prefer males with larger antlers and deeper bellows, indicators of health and genetic capacity. After mating, gestation lasts about 7 months. Fawns are born in spring, when abundant vegetation guarantees rich milk for mothers. The young are spotted and odorless. They remain hidden in tall vegetation during the first weeks. The mother distances herself to feed, returning only to nurse. This separation reduces the risk of attracting predators. Natural camouflage does the rest. Motionless, silent, nearly invisible. Predators exist, though few. Bears occasionally capture careless fawns. Eagles represent threat to the very young, but the greatest historical population regulator, the Japanese wolf, has been extinct for more than a century. Its absence left an ecological void. Without apex predators, deer populations exploded in some regions. Balance was broken. The relationship between seeker deer and forest is complex. At moderate densities, their grazing maintains open clearings and promotes plant diversity. In excess, pressure destroys understories and prevents forest regeneration. Management became necessary. Hunters assumed the role that wolves naturally performed. The solution is imperfect, but for now it works. From deer forests to coastal wetlands, the landscape changes again. Where rivers meet the sea, vast estuaries create transition habitats. And in these frontier territories, a long-legged bird with patient gaze dominates shallow waters. The white heron stands motionless. Minutes pass. Water around reflects an autumn sky. No movement, no hurry. Patience is its most effective weapon. And then, in a strike so fast human eyes can barely follow, the beak plunges. A fish is captured. The meal lasts seconds. The wait begins again. Japan harbors various heron species, but the great white heron dominates estuaries and rice paddies with its elegant presence. The body is slender, covered in plumes of immaculate white that inspired poets and artists for centuries. Long, dark legs allow walking in shallow waters without disturbing the surface. The sinuous neck can compress into an S shape during flight or extend like a spear during hunting. The yellow beak, sharp as a dagger, is the precision instrument that defines its survival. Hunting technique is studied patience. The heron advances slowly, each step calculated to minimize ripples. When it detects movement beneath the surface, it freezes, eyes fix on target, body tenses. The strike is ballistic, water explodes, and most of the time prey doesn't escape. Fish, frogs, crustaceans, small snakes. The menu is varied, efficiency consistent. Japanese rice paddies created an unexpected habitat. Flooded fields during planting season reproduce natural wetland conditions. Herons, storks, and other aquatic birds colonize these artificial environments. An involuntary alliance between traditional agriculture and wildlife. Birds control pests, farmers tolerate their presence. Balance benefits both. Reproduction occurs in colonies. Dozens of pairs build nests in tall trees near water bodies. Proximity offers protection against terrestrial predators and facilitates collective vigilance. Males display ornamental plumes during courtship. Ritualized dances, twig offerings, specific vocalizations. Selection is mutual. Both partners evaluate each other's quality before forming the pair. Eggs are incubated for about 4 weeks. Chicks hatch covered in white down, completely dependent. Both parents feed the brood, regurgitating partially digested fish. Growth is rapid. In 2 months, young already practice short flights. In 3, they leave the nest. But juvenile mortality is high. Storms topple nests. Predators attack unprotected colonies. Only the strongest survive the first year. Migration connects populations. Some herons remain in Japan year-round. Others travel to the Asian continent when winter approaches. Patterns vary according to region and food availability. Tagged individuals have been tracked to Korea, China, and beyond. The sky knows no borders. At dusk, flocks return to communal roosts, white silhouettes against orange skies, the sound of wings cutting air. The scene has repeated for millennia, and in each repetition, the promise of continuity. From coastal wetlands to the most remote forests of the archipelago, another presence commands respect, not for elegance, not for patience, but for absolute efficiency as a predator. In treetops and open skies, the Japanese golden eagle reigns. Its territory is vast, its prey varied. From hares leaping among bushes to young deer straying from mothers, Few medium-sized animals are completely safe when this bird's shadow crosses the ground. Vision is extraordinary, capable of detecting movement from kilometers away. The dive is devastating. Speeds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour transform talons into projectiles. Impact is frequently fatal before prey even comprehends what happened. Pairs form lasting bonds. Nests are reused for decades, growing in size each season. Fidelity to territory is absolute. Generations of eagles are born, hunt, and die in the same mountains. Continuity depends on intact habitat, and habitat increasingly depends on human decisions. In the far south of the archipelago, where Pacific waters warm and assume shades of turquoise, another Japan reveals itself. Okinawa and the Ryukyu Islands form a world apart. Subtropical forests replace northern conifers, coral reefs replace volcanic stone beaches, and a unique biodiversity, shaped by millions of years of isolation, thrives on every fragment of land. The dugong glides over seagrass meadows. This gentle mammal, distant relative of elephants, represents one of the most threatened populations on the planet. Few individuals remain in Japanese waters. Each birth is celebrated, each death mourned. The dugong feeds exclusively on underwater vegetation, grazing slowly like a sea cow. Its metabolism is low, its movements deliberate. Longevity can exceed 70 years, but reproduction is slow. Females bear a single calf after more than a year of gestation. Population recovery, if possible, will take generations. Above the surface, Yanbaru Forest harbors creatures that exist nowhere else on the planet. The Okinawa woodpecker, with its crimson plumage and distinctive call, became a symbol of the fight for conservation. Its total population doesn't exceed a few hundred individuals. Every ancient tree felled reduces its habitat. Every road opened fragments its territory. Survival depends on decisions made now. The Okinawa rail runs through the understory on legs that seem too long for its compact body. This bird doesn't fly. It lost the ability millions of years ago when the absence of terrestrial predators made flight unnecessary. Today, that adaptation became vulnerability. Introduced mongooses, domestic cats, and feral dogs represent threats that evolution didn't predict. Conservation programs struggle to keep the population stable. Fences protect nesting areas. Traps remove invasive predators. The battle is constant. The reefs surrounding the islands form one of Japan's most diverse ecosystems. Corals of impossible shapes harbor fish of colors that seem invented. Sea turtles return to the same beaches where they hatched decades ago to lay their eggs. Sharks patrol deeper waters. Rays glide over sandy bottoms. Each square meter contains more life than hectares of temperate forest. But the reefs suffer. Warming waters cause bleaching. Stressed corals expel the symbiotic algae that give them color and energy. White as bones, they become vulnerable. Many don't recover. Increasingly intense storms fragment structures that took centuries to form. What nature built patiently, climate change destroys in seasons. From the snows of Hokkaido to the reefs of Okinawa, while Japan completes its arc. Bears waiting for salmon, macaques taking hot baths, salamanders guarding eggs in frozen rivers, deer wandering among temples. Herons waiting with infinite patience, eagles dominating the skies, dugongs grazing underwater meadows, each species a piece, each piece essential. While Japan is a system in delicate balance, every species that survives here depends on ancient forests, clean rivers, and predictable seasons. At first glance, it seems immutable, but beneath the apparent harmony, everything is changing. Warming alters migrations. Urbanization fragments habitats. Species that resisted millions of years face decisive decades. The strength of wild Japan lies not in its rigidity, but in its capacity to adapt. Protecting this archipelago means protecting a living laboratory of evolution, a heritage that belongs not only to Japan, but to the biological memory of the entire planet. If you felt the power of this journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next stories of nature in its purest state. Until next time.